In addition to visiting individual communities, Enoch Olinga represented the Universal House of Justice at several Intercontinental conferences, National Spiritual Assembly formations, and meeting heads of state in Asia, Europe, Central and South America, and Africa.
In February of 1977, my husband and I were privileged to attend an international conference, International Baha'i conference, that was held in Merida in the Yucatan. The conference was very exciting because there were people from so many backgrounds. There were so many Mayan Indians, for example, and of course that's right in the heart of Mayan country. So it was an exciting and wonderful place to be at the time. And then more exciting than anything was the fact that Enoch Olinga came. He'd been in Brazil, and he came up from there to be at this conference, and he and Paul Haney were two of the leading Baha'is, hands of the cause, who were at the conference and more or less conducted it and spoke frequently and all. And it was a very enchanting time for all of us there.
My closest contact with Hand of the Cause of God, Enoch Olinga, and his wife, Elizabeth, was at the international conference held in Mexico, Merida, Mexico. That was one of the 8 international conferences designated by the Universal House of Justice for 1976 and 1977. I was planning on remaining in Latin America for a short while after the conference, and Mr. and Mrs. Olinga were also planning to journey to some of the countries, and we were able to arrange to have me go with them. And we went to Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, Panama, Jamaica, Trinidad, and Tobago. Mr. Olinga had a wonderful personality. He was joyful, always inspiring, and his wife was very gracious and queenly. What impressed me so much was that whenever he would talk at any place, he would always introduce his wife and have her say something, and he would introduce me too and have me say a few words. It was being like in the presence of 2 angels.
We had a conference in Nairobi, and then there was over 1,800 friends was attended from different parts of the world, and especially from Iran. And then whenever this conference or other conferences was holding, he was introducing, always calling the pioneers to come up on stage and introducing each and every one of them to the audience, and was asking, you can say a few words to the friends and you explain your experience about your pioneering, about your service to Baha'u'llah, so will be the cause of the encouragement to the others. Whenever he met the friends, he was in a very jovial atmosphere, and he was very happy, and the way he was talking, that makes everybody happy. And this is a character that we Baha'is we must do. That is, we believe in Baha'u'llah. We have got the blessing and bounty of Baha'u'llah in our heart, in our soul. So we must be every moment of life in this world to be happy and make happy the others.
During that time of the Palermo Journey Conference, it was, as you know, the centenary of Baha'u'llah's journey to Akka. And we actually went along the journey, and Dr. Jerry Carey and Mr. Sears would tell us what took place in the various ports and what have you. As we arrived, I met Hand of the Cause Enoch Olinga and his wife Elizabeth, who we became instant lovers, instantly, because Elizabeth was such a glow. She was such a warm human being. She pulled off her head tie and she came over to me. She said, "Here, I want you to wear this." It was a little red and gold head tie. She said, "You wear this because you are an African sister." Mr. Sears and Mr. Olinga encouraged me to pioneer. Well, at the time I had a daughter. I'd lost my husband and I was raising this daughter alone. And they encouraged me to pioneer. Well, I couldn't see how I could ever pioneer because here I'm struggling, working and what have you. And they said, don't worry, you will pioneer. I had a chance to pioneer, of course, to Liberia, West Africa. Mr. Olinga was always encouraging. He kept in touch. Elizabeth continuously kept in touch with me, wanting to know how we were doing. The one thing I remember about Mr. Olinga was his love, his humility, and his talk always about the Holy Spirit. Even though we are separated, that the Holy Spirit, the bonds and ties of the soul, the spiritual ties are always there. This was some saying of the masters. And he said that no matter what takes place in this world, we are children of God and that He loves us. We must strive to become nearer and closer at all times to Baha'u'llah. We must bring Him close to us and keep Him with us.